What's going on here in the Beat Sessions? I'm your host, Mitchell Weary. Let's talk about Mitski and her new album, Laurel. She released that on February 4th. This is studio album number 6 for her, and it follows her critically acclaimed 2018 effort, Be the Cowboy. And I mean, I'll try, Mitski, but if you're back in the saddle, I just don't see the point. She's absolutely savage on this record, and I love it. There's a lot of people that are upset, fans, critics, calling her out for her brutal honesty on this record, but I admire her for it. Good for you for putting your foot down, for drawing a line in the sand and saying enough is enough. To the fans, there's been a certain degree of fandom that has lent itself to the full word fanaticism, fanatical, and the crazy stuff, especially the incident with someone accusing her of human trafficking, is just outrageous. This is a person that is trying to create art, and this is a fine example of how it can really be difficult in the age of social media to manage a career like this. You just never know the type of impact that you're going to have, the magnitude of the impact of your music. And while it's flattering, and while Mitski would be the first to admit that she loves the fact that, you know, so many people love her music and find it important, she'll also be the first to tell you that it doesn't mean that you need to bother me or touch me or harass me or do any of this stuff. And I love that about, again, the brutal, blunt honesty in the lyrics on this record, calling out those fans and telling them to back off, because frankly, if you don't, this is going to be the last record. And she has not been shy about hinting at that. And if it is, you people that have stepped over that line, you only have yourselves to blame. And that's really frustrating to see that type of negative impact influence the career of a really impressive artist. Mitski, fantastic songwriter. She's got a wonderful voice. And I really love the 80s pop element on this record. I also love the balance of punk rock on this thing. Again, lyrically, she's not shy about just throwing up the middle finger and letting you know how she's feeling about things. But certainly the music, to a certain extent, it's got this energetic punk element. But overall, certainly this lovely 80s synth element, a lot of this music that you can dance to. And it's interesting reading about the background of this record. She talks about production and how it went through a couple of iterations. One of those being a punk rock version, and you can definitely hear that when you throw play on this record. But she talks about wanting to make something that you could dance to, and you certainly can dance to this record. And if it is her last effort, like musically, I almost like that it's kind of an FU as well. It's a little more poppy and dancey and brighter than I think anything she's ever done. And again, it's that angst that's just driving all of these things. I mean, even the title, Laurel Hell, if you're not familiar with what a laurel is, it's the flowers and the greens that they used to crown people in ancient Greece. So just a lot going on there as far as the visual, the lyrics, the title, the entire theme of this record is just kind of a blunt middle finger, and I respect that punk rock aspect of it. It opens up with Valentine, Texas. You get this dark synth in the vocal intro, and then I like the way that this bright music kicks in, and it's got this like alternative doo-wop feel, honestly. Great little album opener. Like the way it works into Working for the Knife, which I believe is the first single on this record. Came out last year. Wonderful song. It's shoegazy, and I love the way that the piano comes in. There's definitely kind of this David Bowie element of the song that I found, and really one of my highlights on the record. Leads into Stay Soft, funky disco bass in this song, and I think that this record really, or this song in particular, is more of an indication of what you're going to get on this record. But I really, lyrically, like, I love where she's at. Open up your heart like the gates of hell. I mean, she's brutal. She's dark on this thing. And that lyric, one of my favorites, just a great example of that. Your fourth song, Everyone, synth ballad, and she definitely is taking on the audience, the fan base, and addressing some of that fanaticism and how she feels about it. Heat Lightning is your fifth song, and probably my favorite. This thing reminded me of Velvet Underground and Venus in Furs. I really liked the feel of the strings on this song. I like the way they swell and build towards the chorus, and it's just got this gentle funk to it. It's really well done. The only heartbreaker is your sixth song, 80s Dance Party, all the way. It's got a great hook, reminded me of Pat Benatar a lot. Leads into Love Me More, which is going to keep the pace going on this record with that feel. I got a little bit of more of like kind of like a Cyndi Lauper feel on this track. And it's slightly more mellow, but it's definitely upbeat. You can definitely dance to it. Another great track. Leads into There's Nothing Left for You. Going to slow the pace. And I love the way this song swells and builds. And it's a nice change of pace in the record, leading into Should Have Been Me, which flat out just sounds like Maneater by Hall & Oates, but it's a great song. It's super funky. I think, honestly, there's actually a couple of actual lyrics from Maneater in the song. I'd have to go back and check that, but if you know that for sure, go ahead and throw that in the comments section. I was humored overall by that song, but I think it's a great piece of music. And it leads into your penultimate track, I Guess, which is another one of these songs that is addressing the fans, and it's definitely a ballad. It's just her and a piano with a lot of reverb. I like to feel the track. And, ultimately, if this is her last record, this is basically her just saying, sorry guys, but you pushed me too far and I've had enough and I need to do something different with my life. And then she just drops the mic and kicks this thing out with That's Our Lamp. And it's a disco banger to close this record out. I really hope this isn't her last record. I really hope that we haven't pushed her to that limit. And we'll see. She's got a tour lined up for this record. It's pretty much already sold out. An indication of all those fans that are upset. I don't think she cares. And I think this record was made, again, to draw that line, to discover who the loyal people are that actually respect her as a human and as an artist, and the people like those fans that just want a piece of her and find her just disposable. And, it's really frustrating. I can imagine how she just feels so alienated by that and why a lot of artists do. And so kudos to you for sticking up for yourself on this record, Mitski. It's a fine album, fine piece of work, and we're going to vinyl please it for sure. I hope you enjoyed listening to this record. I hope you find this review helpful as well. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel. Do all the things to help me blow this project up in 2022, and stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. We'll see you next time on the Beat Sessions.